joining us today. Before I go to today's statement, let me just make a brief comment on what what we'll consider an evolving story to do with the Metro TV today. The facts are yet to fully be established as far as I know, but I just want to take the opportunity to articulate the NPP's default position and solidarity with the media and our support for the media. I hope that the police will look in the matter and establish what the issues are and address it appropriately. If there is anything in there that infringes upon the rights of the journalists or the right to freedom of speech, and appropriate steps will be taken or should be taken to address it. Just to be on record, the New Patriotic Party supports the media and will not condone anything that stifles or silences the media. Then again, I said the facts on this matter is not known, and I said a developing story. We just want to issue our position and solidarity with the media, with Metro TV as well. I hear there's some comments about sound. Can you hear me okay? We're good now? It is 11 days before the election on December 7th. Everything shows, ladies and gentlemen, that the New Patriotic Party's candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, would win the first round victory. We in the NPP are humbled by this widespread embrace of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's bold solutions as the best way forward for Ghana. We entreat voters nationwide to turn out in large numbers to give Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and the NPP the mandate to implement the policies we have proposed in our bold solutions for job and business. Today's briefing comprises 5 themes. 1, economic recovery and growth, educational skills and development, agricultural development, social interventions, and access to health care. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been described variously, but most importantly as a generational thinker and a doer. We're all observed how he has distinguished himself as the vice president in the last 8 years. That is why, as a vice president, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has led over 30 projects which has been implemented successfully. And chief among these projects are the National Identification System, it's a Ghana card. This afternoon, I think much later yesterday, as I was having a conversation with some friends of mine who were telling me about how Nigeria is also venturing into the national identification card in the mold of what we have done here in Ghana. Mobile money payment interoperability, the medical drone system or the medical drone service, the National Health Insurance app, and the digitized motor and insurance database, and the Ghana.gov platform. Very recently, simply because across this country, there is a general consensus among people that the Vice President, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has performed better in office than any Vice President in recent history. As stated earlier, Bawumia's initiative has led to Bawumia has initiated and implemented successfully about some 33 initiatives as Vice President, and I submit to you that as President, he will do exceedingly more than that. So ladies and gentlemen of the media, I am sure, permit me to be a bit more pastoral at this point. I'm sure you recall the parable of the bag of gold in Matthew 25:14 through 30. I summarize for you: a master entrusted his wealth to 3 of his servants. He gives 5 bags to one, 2 bags of gold to another, and 1 bag of gold to the third. The first 2 servants doubled the gold and returned it to the master upon his return. The third servant went straight and buried the bag of gold in the field and returned it to the master when he arrived. You know the details in between. The master was pleased with the first 2 servants, but cast out the third servant into the darkness. Ladies and gentlemen, Baumia is an example of the good and faithful biblical servant because he has served Ghana well and deserves commendation and reward. The master in verses 28 and 30 made the following declarations, and I quote, "So, take the bag of gold from him and give it to the one who has 10 bags. For whoever has will be given more, and they will have in an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them, and throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth." I didn't say it, this is the Bible. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is an example of the biblical wicked and lazy servant who did not live up to expectation in his 4 years as president of this republic. Ladies and gentlemen, like the master in Matthew 25, Ghanaians must vote on December 7th, or maybe let me go back a bit. Like the master, we voted in 2016 to cast out John Dramani Mahama because he had not met expectation. But somehow in 2020, he thought that the verdict on him in 2016 was a flash in the pan. So he came again in 2020, and we roundly confirmed that our decision was absolute and clear in 2016. So again, we voted him out. He thought himself he didn't understand. He went to the court, didn't have any evidence, and he was roundly rejected. The unanimous verdict against his bogus claim, the petition, the 2021 petition, election petition, was roundly rejected, just like the Ghanaians. Now, in 2024, he's going to try us again. He's trying us again. And with all humility, I entreat us all to give the NPP a landslide victory in a way to retire the former president permanently from politics. We must reject former President John Dramani Mahama because his 4 years as president brought untold hardship to Ghanaians. He slept in doom so during those years. Businesses were destroyed, youth employment broke world records, and the growing economy he inherited was collapsing by the time he left office. Most revealing is the fact that former President John Dramani Mahama gave up when his mismanagement made life difficult, and Ghanaians demonstrated to demand better economic management. He said no amount of demonstration, and I'm sure you remember this. He said no amount of demonstration would move him because he was a dead goat. Ladies and gentlemen, the balance of a leader's job is dealing with challenges. But from what we have seen from the former president, he has shown that he cannot deal with challenges. Therefore, on December 7th, we must vote to show the former President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC that we, the people of Ghana, cannot afford the risk of electing a president who cannot respond to our needs in challenging times. The former president did not perform well, and this is essentially a matter known to all of us, and it's evident in the vote in 2016 and 2020. Not performed well in office between 2013 and 2016. So he does not merit the reward, and given the scripture, we should not reward him. This is especially true when all he has is 4 years. And here's where I promised you I will tell you about his own view about 4 years and what one can use it to do. He says 4 years is not enough to make a difference as a government. And so the question is, what has changed? The question is, what is it coming to do? The question is it now true that 4 years is enough to make a difference? Those are questions I know our former president cannot answer, which then goes to the heart of why we shouldn't vote for him, because he can't make any difference. He himself has said it, and it's a practical impossibility for him to do it. But rather, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has what it takes, has the allowable 8 years to be able to deliver in the first 4, to give a good account of himself so we can give him another 4 years. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, voting for the former president, John Dramani Mahama, will amount to taking Ghana back, and you and I cannot afford to take Ghana backward when our peers in the sub-region are striving forward. We the people, as I just read to you in scripture, are the masters of Ghana's destiny. We've entrusted our powers in the former president before, and we are about to do so again with a choice between him and His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And the invitation is for you, based on his delivery in the first 4 years, and based on the scripture we have read, since he has not performed well, he deserves no reward. So on December 7th, your decision must reflect the wisdom of the parable we just read in the Bible, to reward the good and faithful servant of the people, being Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, with your votes, because he has shown the potential to do even better for Ghanaians as president. Finally, let me make the appeal to you as you vote on December 2nd, and most of us on December 7th, starting with the special voting. Please cast your ballot for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and the NPP parliamentary candidates. That will be number 1 across all the ballots, in line with what you know to be true, what your expectations are. Now, when you give a piece of job to someone to do, those who do a good job, you invite again. Those who do a poor job, you will not invite. The verdict is clear on the former president's performance, 4-year performance in office. This is not me saying it. You and I, we voted massively in unprecedented manner to send him home, simply because he didn't perform. And I invite you that we don't reward him because he had failed us, he had not been a faithful, he has not been a good and faithful servant of the people of Ghana. So therefore, on December 7th, let's vote for the one who has been faithful, who has been good to Ghanaians. His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia should be your choice on December 7th or on December 2nd when you take the lead to vote in a special vote. Thank you very much for coming.